Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to our virtual presentation tonight for Marysville Middle School. We are talking tonight about what to expect in middle school, and we are welcoming all of our participants from our new students coming to us from Cedar Crest and from Totem Middle School, as well as all our new incoming sixth graders from our various elementary schools coming from out the area. We have several people here to present. We have Mary Ingraham, our principal, Kim Nikase, our vice principal. We have myself, who will be the future sixth grade counselor. We have Jennifer Beatty, who is our future seventh grade counselor. Symbol Irwin Rainey, who is our future eighth grade counselor. And Erica Bryan, Amber Bueller, and Misty Dominguez are all PTSA board members who will be presenting about our wonderful PTSA. With that, we are going to head to our next slide.
All right, so we're gonna start with a quote, which I'll read for you all. Research shows that early adolescence, the middle school years, is one of the two critical periods in a child's life. The other time is early childhood. It is during these years that children need adult help the most. Schools and parents both have important roles to play in helping middle school children, but every study finds that parents have the biggest influence. And this is from the Parent Institute. So just to reiterate, parents, families, guardians, you all play a critical role in supporting your student.
And to start with that role, we are going to give you some ideas about what can really support your student to be very successful when they come to middle school. So every student's going to have a Chromebook. Please have them plug it in at night to have it charged so it can last the whole day when they come to school. Obviously, sleep is very important, so a routine is great. And then help them with time management and organization as we get into multiple classes and multiple teachers. Help them calendar and figure out when they're going to do their homework. And then if you have any questions or your student has questions or concerns, please connect with the teacher and the school. We want to keep those lines of communication open. We want to be able to partner with you in order to help your student be successful. Boundaries and rules and expectations are what we need to help students be successful in school and understand where they need to be and what is expected. And the other thing is, this is a time when students get to become more independent. So empowering your student to do what they need to do and doing less for them as they're getting more mature. Figure out when to get involved and when to step aside and let them handle their business and become more independent. There's some questions on the slide. Do you need my help? Do you want ideas? Also help them with strategies for problem solving. They need help with this even if they don't act like it. So just talking through some problem solving techniques. On the slide, you can see there's a link to the Parent Toolkit Parenting Guide, and when we post this on the website, that link will be live, and then you can access the information and use it to your delight.
So when we talk about helping our student, how much should you help? And obviously a sixth grader is going to require a little extra help than an eighth grader, but each student is unique, and we know that you know your student best. But some of our suggestions for you in terms of how you work with your student on homework or assignments, offer suggestions, talk about the topic, but don't write or rewrite for the student. Doing some editing in terms of marking and creating some changes on their maybe a paper that they're working on, doing it on the side, and then allowing them to realize what the mistakes are that they're making. Do not do your child's homework ever. It's not something that we want to see. We don't want to see parents doing the work. We want to see students. And if there's something that's happened that has prevented your child from finishing a homework assignment, we would rather that the student advocate for themselves and come and talk to the teacher. And this is where we learn how to recover from those kinds of minor stumbles. It's a great time for students to practice being independent learners. So being supportive while preventing your child from becoming dependent on your help is important in this stage of middle school.
So talking a little bit about cell phones. As most kids have cell phones these days, as a district, we have a process that we like to just state out there that we want cell phones off and away during the school day. But it's also important to recognize that we are a learning community with the goal of setting every student up for future success and lifelong advantage. A part of that goal is also to guide students on how to use cell phones and other technology professionally and appropriately. And we take that role really important. We focus on that role as well. So at school, cell phones, as I said, are generally off and away during the school day. However, we are currently discussing the possibility of use of cell phones during lunch in only the cafeteria. So cell phones would not be permitted anywhere else but during lunch in the cafeteria, where it can be supervised with the supervision that we have in the cafeteria. And that's something that we're discussing as a leadership team here at the school. Another piece that we're really looking into is we're putting into place a consistent classroom process for teachers to communicate clearly the technology expectations. So whether it's with a student for anxiety or to help them focus, sometimes students have allowable pieces on during independent work, being able to listen to music or do something else that helps cancel out the noise outside of them so that they can focus in. And instead of this being something that stands out, we want to put it in a way where that we're actually teaching through this, that there is professional ways to use our cell phones. And if there is independent work time, that might be a time that in that classroom with that teacher, that it is permissible to use either their computer, because you can listen on their school given device, they can listen to music through that, or on a cell phone to listen to some school appropriate music while doing independent study. So we're looking to put in a system so that we can be consistent in each classroom, much like the sign that you see at the bottom of this slideshow where it says phone go, use your phone for learning, or phone no, put your phone away. Something similar to that where it could be posted to make sure that the expectation and just the expectation is clearly presented and communicated to each student and to each staff member so they know what to expect in each classrooms. These allowable pieces and learning on how to use technology professionally are expectations that can also be done on a student's Chromebook. We want to make sure that we're giving equitable and open access to all of these opportunities. And so, like I said, music can be listened to on a Chromebook as well. However, we also know that there's a lot of studies around screen time. And now after going through the pandemic, we know that there is a lot more screen time happening even in schools because we're one-to-one now and each student does have a device, and screen time has its definite negative effects as well. And so I know that a lot of families have come to me and the counselors, assistant principal as well, just asking, what can I do to help manage my students' cell phone use and screen time use? And there's a couple ideas we have here that are software or apps for monitoring cell phone use. There's a family link option where you can monitor your students' use. You can see screen time, how much screen time has been used in different pieces. And then for iPhones, there is a screen time where you actually put in, students have to put the adult has to put in a password to give access to certain apps. I use this one with my own kids at home where they do not have access to certain apps except for during certain times during the day. And so it's another way just to have another way to keep guiding your student to have less screen time and use their phone or technology professionally. Connected here is an article about children and cell phone uses. It goes nicely over the both sides of too much screen time and cell phone harms, as well as the benefits to using cell phones and just how students can profit from using this technology and learning this technology. This link will be able to be clicked if you just get the link to the PowerPoint that is below this video. You'll be able to click on it and read it for yourself.
Hello, this explains some book titles that we thought you would appreciate and have some understanding of some various authors that may give you some tips and help through working in adolescence and understanding more about middle school years and the various things that develop at that various time. So the top one talks about middle school makeover. Second one would be Smart But Scattered Teens, Executive Functioning Skills, a program for helping teens research their potential. And third one is Decoding Boys. Fourth, Brainstorm the Power of Purpose of the Teenage Brain. Next, He's Not Lazy, Empowering Your Son to Believe in Himself. Next, 14 Talks by Age 14. Next, Untangled, Guiding Teenage Girls Through the 7 Transitions into Adulthood. And lastly, Generation Sleepless, Why Tweens and Teens Aren't Sleeping Enough and How We Can Help Them enjoy these readings.
All right, so of course your students need to get to school, and many of our students ride the bus. Our first priority with students riding the bus is always safety. And so with that, riders should obey the driver, even if there's something that happens that the student doesn't agree with the driver while they're on the bus. They need to follow the directives, and then the student can ask at a later time to meet with the school counselor or an administrator to arrange a conference with the driver to solve the issue. We want students to obey the instructions of any adult the first time. If it occurs that they are not following directions, the driver will report the violation with the use of a bus ticket. And so that is communicated to the school, and it's communicated through transportation to the family that there's been an infraction. If a student gets multiple bus tickets, they could lose the privilege of riding the bus. So we really want students to follow directions and be safe on the bus at all times. With that, students need to load and unload in an orderly manner so that there's no pushing or shoving that might injure somebody, or pushing or shoving that could result in a student being moved out of the loading lane into an area that could have them injured either with another vehicle or falling off a curb or something like that. We do have the opportunity, if students want to ride with a friend, they can get special permission. They would need a note from parent or guardian with information about who they would like to ride with phone numbers, and then they would come to the main office in our building, and we would give them a pass to ride on a different bus. So bring a friend. And again, that is a privilege. So as long as students are following the rules and following directions and are safe, then that privilege is available. And if not, then we have to decline those passes. And so our hope is that kids get to hang out with their friends and they're safe on the buses by following the rules.
All right, next is our school-wide expectations. And all of these slides and information leading up to this point really talk to the same thing that is going to lead together. We're going to lead each student to future success and a lifelong advantage. And just like at home as well as at school, we want to create safety. We want to act respectfully, and we want to take responsibility. These three attributes of safety, respect, and responsibility is what guides everything we do. And we want that to be the lens that we look through as we act, talk, or even think as we go together as a community, as these are the pieces that bring us together as a community and help guide how we treat one another and set everybody up for the best possibilities that we can. So we teach and reteach throughout the year exactly these expectations of creating safety, acting respectfully, and taking responsibility. We talk about what that looks like and feels like in common areas such as the cafeteria, the commons, the library, the hallways, etc., as well as looking specifically and maybe a little bit differently, what does this look like in the classroom setting? What does it mean to create safety and to be respectful and be responsible in the classroom setting as well? The students have been great and have crafted the exact expectations under each of these for the common areas and the classrooms so that we have just the school community created these together and we all hold to these agreements, and that is what makes us strong. So we always want to be a cat. It's me again. So talking about social media, I talked earlier about cell phones, and another piece of cell phones that has really taken on is this aspect of having smartphones and access to social media. A lot of things happen on social media. That seems to be the most popular social media platforms right now are TikTok, Discord, Snapchat, and Instagram. I have their little symbols, their little logos there for you to review, to see. But we really want to, just like with cell phones, we want to lead to using technology, social media, whatnot, professionally and responsibly going forward. And we really want students to realize and note that whatever goes online stays online and follows them, and that we have fingerprints and footprints all over the place. And so we talk about cyber safety, and there's a link here in YouTube, link that you can learn some more about cyber safety that you can talk with your students on. If you just go into the PowerPoint below and click that link. We also have tips on the district website to keep students safe online. And then there's information about social media and tweens and teens as well through the NEA, through the third link. So social media and anxiety in adolescence, there's a huge connection between that. There's also a huge connection between that and adults as well. We know that social media can bring about anxiety. So there was a study of more than 450 youth aged 11 to 17, and they found that 97% of the participants indicated that they use social media. So that's very few that are not connected to social media. 35% of those participants were classified as poor sleepers. 47% of participants were classified as anxious. Higher emotional investments in social media was strongly correlated with higher levels of anxiety. So just like sometimes we see on social media that a friend that we knew from the past is living their life in Hawaii on the beach, and sometimes we would like to be there as well. The same thing happens for our students. There's, just reading different pieces, and then the accountability for what we post is not often what we want, and a lot of harm can be done through that. So we really want to work with each of you to really make sure that we are communicating clearly about how we are only putting kind things online and safe things online, as well as how to protect our students from that harm, our kids from the harm of social media, and what is a good limit. Also, when talking about sleep, making sure that our cell phones and other technology devices are not in the same room with us at night, that blue light and those other pieces. The studies have also found students waking up at all hours of the night and the morning to be on social media is a key factor in that disruption of sleep. So I really encourage for habits at home, for the cell phones and technology to be placed in a totally different room from where we sleep.
Thank you, Mary. One of the things that we're going to talk about next is attendance and the importance of attendance and how it affects how well we do in school. So a student who misses 10 or more days during a school year is 20% less likely to graduate from high school and 25% less likely to enroll in college. So even if your child is missing a day or two every few weeks, they can still fall behind. And school only gets harder when students aren't here. That excessive unexcused absences may result in a loss of academic credit as they move through the high school years. Absences affect the whole classroom because teachers have to slow down and help students catch up. The other thing about absences is that they might be a sign that a student is losing interest in school. They might not be motivated to go to school. They might be struggling with schoolwork. They might be dealing with a bully, or they might be facing some other potentially serious difficulty. And it is known that by 9th grade, regular and high attendance is a better predictor of graduation rates than 8th grade test scores. So it's a really key factor in having our students reach graduation, and not only just reach graduation, but exceed expectations of everyone around them. So we're just trying to emphasize the importance of having students be here at school.
So talking about attendance leads us to learning more about the Beca Bill and what that is. The Beca Bill was passed in 1996 after parents went to juvenile court to help with their daughter, Rebecca. So the Beca Bill was named after a student named Rebecca. Parents were aware of her struggles. She had her own unique struggles, and they were trying to help her with that, but they were coming across some barriers, specifically around her attendance. An example would be that they didn't always know when she was at school and when she wasn't. And unfortunately and very tragically, one day when they thought she was at school, they later found out that she was found murdered in a park in Spokane. So from that, and for student safety overall, the Beca Bill was formed, and it is a Washington law that requires children from age 8 to 17 to attend public school, private school, or receive home-based instruction as provided by subsection RCW 28A225010. So this, the Beca Bill is why whenever a student is absent, you'll receive a phone call from the district notifying you that your child isn't at school, again for safety reasons, in case you thought that they were. So to continue with that, what we need from parents is to make sure that your child does attend and regularly attend and is ready to learn. Monitor attendance. If you notice any discrepancies, be sure to reach out and contact the school. Skyward is really the main place to check for that. And if you are not able to log on to Skyward, we can help you in the main office, support you with that so that you are able to log on. And then if you know your child's going to be absent, to contact the attendance secretary and send a note for when your student returns also know that us counselors are here to support and address any issues or concerns that you have for your students' attendance and their academic progress and well-being.
All right, well, sometimes in school there are conflicts. And so if your student is having a conflict with another student, the first step would be to, if they can't resolve it themselves, they can seek out help from their counselors or their teachers or any other adult in the building to help resolve that conflict. Sometimes things become a little more intense. And so if your student is being harassed, intimidated, or bullying, or knows of someone, or if they know of something serious like drugs or weapons or some other safety concerns in the building, we have what's called the Safe Schools link. And so this link is available, you can see it on your slide, it is available on our school website, and anyone can submit a tip. And so what happens is we get an email, and there are multiple people that will get an email, and then we can go and investigate the situation and support the students that are involved, or like I said, if it's a safety issue, we can investigate that and make sure everything is safe in school. Again, the link is on the slideshow, and it's also on every school website in the district.
Hi everyone. I'm Erica Bryan. I am your current PTSA co-president, and I am just here to talk to you guys because since the borders are going to be going into effect, the new changes, we have all of our seats open, and we would really like to invite you guys in to come along on this journey with your kids and the staff and everyone. We do a lot of fundraisers, we do skate nights, we just have a whole lot of fun. And if you're interested in joining us, please reach out to our Facebook page, or you can even reach out to me, and we can let you know when our next meetings are. And if you're interested in joining the board, we would love to have you guys.
And just to conclude, any parents of the class of 2029, that would be our lovely, wonderful incoming sixth graders. I'm gonna say, as the future sixth grade counselor, if you would like to sign up for texts through Remind, you can do that by going to remind.com/join. You can add the class code for the class of 2029. I will then approve you based on my rosters, and I will be able to send you text messages throughout the year, and you will be able to text me, which is sometimes easier than email for some parents. So it's just one more way to do the communication, or just one different way of communicating with us here at school.
We just want to thank you all for joining in and watching this video. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call out to the main office at MMS, or reach out to one of the counselors that were here. Please reach out to Erica for PTA, or go to our PTA Facebook page. It's everywhere, just Marysville Middle School PTA. But we're just so thankful that you're all joining us, and we're so excited to partner and work together to ensure future success and lifelong advantage for each and every student at MMS. Have a great night.